leaders. In the headlines, 10 illegal miners arrested in Zamfara State at 2 mining sites. Bandit leaders errand boy arrested. Senate meets head of regulatory agencies over tuition fee hike. Waterfront communities in Port Harcourt cry out over eviction from homes. And on the foreign scene, shrapnel wounds 12 as Saudi defenses blow up drone near airport. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. Operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, in Zamfara State raided 2 mining sites, apprehending 10 illegal miners at communities in Talata Mafara local government area of Zamfara State. Some elements still carry out illegal mining activities in the area despite a ban by the federal government on the activities in the state due to insecurity. A 14-year-old errand boy of bandit leader Bello Turji is also arrested by the paramilitary organization. The report.
As part of effort to curb activities of illegal mining in Zamfara State, the operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, stormed 2 separate mining sites at Murki and Tunga Bay communities in Talata Marafa local government area, where they apprehended 10 illegal miners. The NSCDC operators also confiscated 8 motorcycles, 9 bags of precious stones, and several tools, including 1 Dane gun, which the local security outfit is using to guard them in the bush.
A good 9 persons have been arrested. 3 from the 10 persons have been arrested, 3 from the mining site, and then 7 from where it is being processed. So altogether 10. Yes, about 8 motorcycles were confiscated. Those motorcycles belong to the illegal miners. You may be surprised to know that these miners are even having local securities guiding them, which means it's an organized syndicate. Local security, if you look at behind me, you will see a day gun that we apprehended from one of the local security men guiding them. So even those that are using motorcycle, they are there as errand boys. They use the motorcycle to convert the finished product, the mined product, to where they can get the finished product.
The NSCDC has warned those engaged in illegal mining activities in Zamfara State to desist from the unlawful act, as it will spare no one found culpable.
So we are working on it. We are trying to get more stories from him to see how, if possible, rehabilitate him and then go after those who he will reveal that are his masters in due course.
One of the illegal miners said they're engaging in mining activities because there's no legal work to feed their families, and if the government wants them to stop, it should provide alternative job for them.
We are
employed as laborers to work on the mining site to get money to cater for ourselves and families. Our employers used to give us 500 naira per day to eat. We are aware of the federal government's ban on mining activities. We are poor people, and if we don't go out to look for what to do or to do illegal mining to earn a living or to feed, we do not have vocational skill or job. Also, the bandits are terrorizing us, rustled our animals. That is why we are engaged in illegal mining activities to survive.
2 operatives of the Corps were attacked during the operation and were left with different degree of injuries. NSCDC operatives succeeded in arresting 14-year-old boy who is an errand boy of terrorist kingpin Bello Turji. The boy confessed that Bello Turji has trained him on how to operate any type of weapon. According to the Public Relations Officer of the Corps in the state, Ikoche, the 14-year-old boy Sani Suleiman takes advantage of female victims by having carnal knowledge of them, and he has been used as a bait for kidnapping.
Meanwhile, Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad has hinted the Nigerian Air Force of the presence of an unidentified helicopter hovering around the state, prompting the Nigerian Air Force to begin investigation. According to leadership, the suspicious helicopter is thought to be hovering around Lamibura Forest in Toro and Ningi local government areas of the state. The governor drew attention to the presence of the helicopter when he received the newly posted air officer commanding the Nigerian Air Force Special Operations in Bauchi, Air Vice Marshal Tajuddin Yusuf, at the government house. He said intelligence security details available to him from the local areas indicated that a helicopter used to fly over the forest, a development that raised concern about the safety of the people living around the forest. Yusuf commended the state government for its concern over the security in the state and called on the public to assist the command with useful information to enable it to discharge its duties to them. Under-Secretary General of the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism, Vladimir Voronkov, has said terror group ISIL is expanding its affiliates and networks beyond Syria and Iraq to Nigeria and other African countries. According to Voronkov, the terrorist activities were gaining ground in Central and West Africa, which he said continues at an unsettling scale and pace. He said the terrorist activities are intensifying in Central and West Africa, especially Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, and Niger, adding that attacks are increasingly reported in the border area between Mozambique and Tanzania, pointing to potential spillover effects that could reach even beyond the continent. Voronkov urged countries to use every tool in their disposal to sustain important gains made against the terror group, preventing its further regional expansion, curtailing its attack capabilities, and preventing additional recruitment. A 200-level student of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, identified as Ajibola Ayomikun, has died after falling into a soakaway in her hostel. The incident occurred in one of the private hostels in the student village. The University Public Relations Officer, Abiodun Olariwaju, confirmed the development. While describing the incident as sudden, Olariwaju said the management of the institution immediately deployed a rescue team to the scene when the news reached the university authority. While sympathizing with the entire students at the university and commiserating with the parents of the deceased, the Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Eyitope Ogunbodede, said the incident is unacceptable and promised to critically investigate the circumstances that led to the student's death and meted any appropriate sanctions against those involved. Ogunbodede appealed to the students to remain calm and law-abiding as the police are also investigating. And President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, meets with heads of regulatory agencies in the education sector as part of measures to douse brewing tensions over the planned hike in registration fees in some tertiary institutions. Executive Secretary of National University Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Professor Paulinus Chijoke Okwele, and Bilkisu Salihijo Ahmad, representing the National Board for Technical Education, are in attendance. The report.
The news of tuition fee hike broke some weeks ago, with many of the tertiary institutions across the country affected. This meeting with stakeholders is therefore a crucial one. The Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, the convener of the meeting, told his guests that the meeting is a follow-up to an earlier one held with the coalition of northern groups, the Students' Wing, which brought the matter to the table. He had assured the students of the National Assembly's commitment to their welfare and will do all possible to bring the matter to a level playing ground, noting also that education remains the bedrock of any nation.
Guys, the position of our students, particularly at the time that is so difficult, some at the brink of being very dire. We understand that our tertiary institutions have need for more resources, but we also equally understand that our students are mostly from very poor backgrounds, and we must do everything possible to protect those who are so vulnerable. The finances for their education must never be hurdles between them and actualizing their dreams. So we have to find how this situation is, and then we take the appropriate measures. And because you represent the surviving bodies for tertiary institutions, we should start with you, listen to you, and then we can now find a way out of this. I want to take this opportunity to assure our students across the country that we in the National Assembly and indeed government, the federal government, will always try to work to protect you, to support you to continue with your education.
Responding on behalf of other stakeholders, the National Universities Commission Executive Secretary Professor Rashid Abubakar commended the Senate President for his timely intervention.
On this, sir, I think your concern is shared by all of us. We will at this point be difficult to know exactly which universities are violating or not, but after this meeting, we shall consult all the universities with a pamphlet to complete and tell us exactly what charges they are, and we shall advertise so that if we are misled, we shall be able to get to it. We understand that the universities cannot be forced to charge uniform fees across the country because they have different demands and they come from different situations. Possibly a university in Lagos or Port Harcourt may charge slightly more than a university in some rural areas, possibly. But there should be a baseline.
With this meeting, it is hoped that the issue of tuition fee hike will be brought to a mutually beneficial level.
And still talking education, as part of efforts to revitalize the challenges of education in Yobe State, the state government launches an education fund in Abuja with a view to addressing the challenges. They attracted prominent sons of Yobe with Governor Maimala Buni, Deputy Governor of Yobe State, Idi Barde Gubana, and other government and private officials in attendance. Trust TV's Nafisa Abdul Al reports.
It is said that education is a human right, a public good, and a public responsibility. In Nigeria, Yobe State is among the states in the country with the largest out-of-school children. While the number of out-of-school children in the state remain a major concern, another issue students face in schools are insurgency attacks. To address this, the Yobe State government launched an education fundraising event in order to refurbish and support the education and development of the state, where handsome donations were made by government and private organizations.
If there is one single sector that you can use to change the world, it's education. And that is what Nelson Mandela said. When he said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
I want to make the following donation. Family and friend of Alhaji Ahir Mangal, 500 million. Myself, Alhaji Ahir Mangal, 500 million. Total is 1 billion naira. Alhaji Ahmed Lawal and Alhaji Awolowo, Sarki Sudan of Gombe, 300 million naira. Total is 1.3 billion naira in my hand.
We know that education is the greatest antidote to poverty, and that we have a duty, indeed a responsibility, to take our people out of poverty. And if we educate them, definitely it is the first stage in the journey out of lifting them from poverty.
Urging all and sundry to donate generously to this noble objective of building the education sector in the state. I have seen the video of the damages done to Yobe State, but I am also asking the Yobe State government to ensure that apart from building back the infrastructure, they should critically examine the need to provide the human resources needs of the state, which is also very important.
Finally, as friends and well-wishers of Yobians, have been contributing to this fund. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Yobe State, despite the large portion of budgetary allocation that has been done to the education sector, directed and approved that a contribution of 5 billion naira will be put into the account of this trust fund.
The role of education is paramount for the peace and development of a country. If a country wants to break the cycle of poverty and insurgency, it is possible with inclusive, equitable, quality education and lifelong opportunities for all. Nafisa Abdul Al, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break. How waste scavengers make fortunes. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19 or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others at least 2 meters even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Now a look at our top stories. Operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, in Zamfara State raided 2 mining sites, apprehending 10 illegal miners at communities in Talatamafara local government area of the state. And President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, meets with heads of regulatory agencies in the education sector as part of measures to douse brewing tensions over planned hike in registration fees in some tertiary institutions. And moving on to other news now, Nigeria Center for Disease Control recorded 37 infections across the country on Wednesday. The new cases were recorded in 5 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The agency data shows 10 persons were discharged on Wednesday after recovering from the infection. No death is recorded on Wednesday for the 4th consecutive day, leaving the fatality figure at 3,139. Nigeria now has a total of 253,875 confirmed cases, 230,221 recoveries. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has appealed to wealthy nations to assist low and middle income countries to procure test kits, treatments and vaccines. And still talking health, the Ministry of Health has launched a 5-year media strategy aimed at strengthening the relationship between the ministry and its media partners. Speaking during an interactive engagement in Abuja, Director of the Health Promotion Division of the Ministry, Ladidi Ayegusi, said the strategy had become necessary in order to provide adequate information, data, as well as project the activities of the ministry to the public.
a blueprint of how the health sector will work effectively with the media sector, will use these tools that the media has, the platform that the media has, the channels that the media has to disseminate health information to the people, information that will empower individuals, and also information that will create visibility for the activities of the health sector.
Almost 70% of the diseases that afflict us as a people, as Nigerians, are preventable. But lack of knowledge, lack of information still make people, to go down with simple things like malaria, cholera. We're still dealing with diseases that this time they mention them for study. The health sector and media should work together. WHO recognizes this. And why is it important? So that we can disseminate knowledge, we can disseminate information from the point of knowledge. The more interaction we have with the players themselves, the more enlightened we are, and going forward we'll be able to give messages that are proactive.
The business of scavengers is primarily the collection of waste from trash bins. From squeaky boys to water sellers, the narrative around young boys who come to the federal capital in search of livelihood continues, but with proper guidance of some of these boys thrive in these petty endeavors. This is the story of two boys, Usman Zaid and Muhammad Sani, who search for waste in the federal capital territory, regardless of where it is found. Zainab Bala caught up with them.
I came from Yobe State. I came to Abuja in search of a livelihood. When I came, I met a woman who said she would pay me 5,000 every month to clean her shop, but she would take care of my feeding. After some time, I realized the payment was not enough. I started hawking sachet water. I also realized it was too strenuous and I could hardly get enough to feed from it. I then joined some people from my community to become a scavenger, and I got applauded for that. People told me it was better than stealing or begging. From 500 naira a day, I now get more. I have also started building a house back home. I tried a lot of things when I came. I even tried cutting people's nails for money, but I was bad at it. We both came to this town searching for what to do. I started with sachet water, but it did not work because it was a rainy season. Someone from my village left me with his truck to scavenge, but unfortunately it was stolen while I was fast asleep. I tried looking for someone who can give me another, but it did not work. So I spoke to this friend of mine. That's why we work together.
The FCT Police Command on Thursday announced restriction of movement from 12 midnight on Friday, 11th February, to 4 p.m. on Saturday, 12th February in Abuja towards ensuring security during the conduct of the area council elections. Statement by Police Public Relations Officer, FCT Command, DSP Josephine Ade, says the restriction exempts students who are already scheduled to write their WAEC examination nationwide, as well as other essential workers. He warned that those who do not fall within any of these categories and are found wanting will be made to face the full wrath of the law. And now on the international scene, at least 12 people have been injured by shrapnel after Saudi air defenses intercepted and destroyed a drone close to the kingdom's southern border with Yemen. Saudi Arabia-led military coalition battling Yemen's Houthi rebels said on Thursday that travelers and workers of various nationalities had been injured by the falling debris in the vicinity of Abha International Airport. Authorities say air traffic operations returned to normal after standard safety procedures were carried out. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. The coalition has been fighting the Houthis since the early 2015 after the group removed Yemen's internationally recognized government from power in the capital, Sana'a. And in sports, Nigeria has moved up 4 places to 32nd in the latest FIFA ranking released by the World Football Governing Body on Thursday. Despite early exit from the Africa Cup of Nations, Super Eagles put up a good display during the group stages, collecting all available 9 points and pushed Tunisia all the way before crashing out in the round of 16. The team, currently led by Austin Eguavon, who are seeded against Ghana during the draw for the final World Cup playoffs in Africa as a result of being among the best 5 teams on the continent. AFCON winners Senegal remained the best team, followed by Morocco, Nigeria, Egypt, Tunisia, Cameroon, Algeria, Mali, the Ivory Coast in that order to make up the top 10 best teams on the continent. Globally, Belgium retains the #1 spot and are followed by Brazil, France, Argentina, England, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Denmark and the Netherlands. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.